Yes, please start.
Okay. So, greetings to everyone, and the topic which I chose for today is quite, you know, unique and unusual from the usual topics which I do. And why I chose this topic is because uh, there are a couple of reasons to this. Um, I don't know how many of you know that I'm still doing. I'm actually a you know a passionate baker and an artist turned into a trainer. I think very few or many of them know this, or it might be new for many of you all. But in for example, when you're traveling or if you're planning for a travel to visit a place, or especially whoever is in this training industry would agree with me on this, that you get to travel to a lot of places, isn't it? And you know we try and make ourselves available, or we try and see if we get a chance to explore a new city. And different individuals have different way of exploring a city. Many explores through art and architecture of different buildings or temples, or in different forms you can explore a city. Whoever has joined me live today, if you can let me know as to what is the kind of method or what is the kind of way you like to explore a city if you have given a chance. Many likes to explore through food, many likes to explore through architecture, or many likes to explore through art, or many likes to explore you know hills, mountains, beaches. We have different ways of exploring a place. Shabna ma'am or Uma ma'am, I don't know what is your perspective to this, but what is your take on this? How would you like to explore a city or a place before I start for the topic for the day?
Well, I do research, so I like to, do the survey and really meet people.
Okay, you like to get to know things from people, and you like to do your own research and understand what that place has to offer. Okay. So
Yes.
we all of us have different ways of liking a new place or liking a new environment. And one such trip which I had, which brought me today's, for choosing today's topic, which is Temples of Time, the unveiling secrets of the Chola Dynasty and their architecture. I don't know how many of you have heard this, but uh, different dynasties have a symbol or a particular, way of projecting artworks in each dynasties. If you have taken a look at it, I know this topic can sound little boring to many, but this is just a personal experience and things what I learned. I'm sharing it here. So let me come back to for today's topic is I visited a particular temple in Tanjavur. I don't know how many of you have heard this. It's called Brihadishwara Temple in Tanjavur. It's this. I'm just taking this one temple as an example to explain this particular concept which I wanted to share here today. Uh, I think many of you like to, do many forms of habits or rituals which you follow on a day-to-day basis to keep yourself in check, isn't it? Many does meditation, many goes for a walk, many goes for a run. We have different forms of, rituals which we follow to, you know, keep the momentum going. Because we have low days, we have our, best days where, we show up, and some days we feel we don't want to show up, kind of a situation it comes to. And that's where, when, it's been my long time dream where I wanted to, you know, sit in a place and get that place, you know, hand painted by myself. And that was the ideology of me visiting this particular, temple. Before I go forward, what is that you are you all aware about, about this Chola dynasty, or have you heard of this different dynasties, way before Shabna ma'am or Uma ma'am who have joined us today live? Anyone?
Yes, I have heard it.
Okay.
But yeah, if you will tell us the story, I think it would be
Yeah,
nice.
no, I'm coming to the story of it. See, especially, or you take up any this thing. I'm not specifically saying for temples, but if you take up any architecture or any particular places, like, especially in places, many places in and around Tamil Nadu, they have a this particular, dynasty, or this, if you take Chola dynasty as it is, their buildings, or the way they have, designed the buildings architecture will be very intricate, and it will have lot of intricate details and designs. And with that details and designs in that particular, sculpture or whatever, we see in that particular building, will have lot of stories to be told. It will have a lot of stories to be told. And if you see in, if you take up a different dynasty which is called the Pallava dynasty, and if you visit such kind of temples, you know uh, sculptures of horses will be very prominent. It depends on which kind of, pilgrimage, or what kind of, architectural building you're visiting on. So that is where all these things comes. And in this particular temple where I went, this temple called Brihadishwara Temple in Tanjavur, this temple speciality is as such that whenever sunlight falls on someone or in a building, immediately it has a shadow, isn't it? Yes or no?
Yes.
You find shadow, or even when you are walking in the sun, you will, see your own shadows. But in this particular place, how much ever the sunlight falls, you know in the building, there will be no shadow anywhere in and around the temple premises, because every place has lot of fascinating stories. If you be a, you know ex- if you be in that kind of explorer's mind, instead of being, when you start traveling, this is something which I urge everyone to do, is that, you know if you start understanding the stories behind certain buildings or certain cities, you'll find fascinating, interesting facts about that particular place. Yes. What is the art form, you like as an, person, if you visit a place? Say, for example, if you take up Tanjavur, you have your Tanjore painting, which is quite famous. Or if you take up some other art form, um, what is it called? Varli art. I think I'm not sure which, it's an art form of which place, I'm not sure. But you have different art forms, and we will have a liking towards each art form, isn't it? Good evening, Meena ma'am. So each place will have its own, art form, or its own way of projecting their culture, or projecting their, stories. Any fans of this thing, mythological stories, or any fans of this, was someone interested in mythologies? Anyone? I know this can sound little, boring, but uh, what I'm trying to bring in here is there are a lot of interesting facts or stories behind each and every place you visit or each and every place you travel. Why I'm saying storytelling or stories behind these kinds of buildings or architectures is because you never know, because stories have that power of impacting people, isn't it? It has that power of impacting people, and that's why I took up this particular, Chola dynasty, because one is their designs or the elements in a, in a drawing or in a sculpture is very intricate, especially if you take up this particular dynasties. If you go read up or if you go look into these kind of pictures or wall paintings, you'll find lot of stories. If you take up at least with Chola dynasty, if you know the story of Rama, and you can see these paintings on the walls, at least in major of the tourist places, or that particular pilgrimage of that particular temple will have it. But all these inside stories, they must have done it as a sculpture or they must have put it as a painting. All these stories, you can take it as examples. Why? In a lot of these stories, they project or they show, you know, examples of, leadership in different forms. I'm not saying there's only one particular form to it, but there are different forms they show this. Or especially when you go to these heritage hotels and in places which you travel, they will have this, the paintings or the food or something speciality they will have. Why it is special? Yes, it's a different story altogether. Nothing much. My only intention was to, to bring in a new perspective when we start, at least when I started training these days, at least recent on during the recent days, I started using these kinds of stories or the travel experiences which I had in many places. Was I was a- you know it was a, I was able to relate to the topic which I was taking, because each dynasties will have different stories, put in a different manner. As I said earlier, in Pallava dynasty, figures of horses were very prominent, but in Chola dynasty, especially in any design details, it will be very intricate. That is a speciality of this particular period. Shabnam, ma'am, you wanted to add something?
Yeah, you mentioned about quite a few stories. So would you like to share any story? Because
Yes, yes. So when I visited this particular, okay, disclaimer, this is just personal experiences which I'm sharing, not to defend or, reject, or it's not, the intention is not that. So especially if take up, when I visited this particular temple in Tanjavur, and which is called Brihadishvara temple, where it was mainly, you know deity was Lord Shiva. So what happens is, when I entered that particular premises, or when I entered that particular, temple, the first thing which I noticed was the design details of even the deity, or the paintings which was done on the walls, or the stories, of all this, Ramayana, or different stories, or it must be a story of that particular city, of how that city evolved. It is very fascinating, because majorly, at least in temples, you'll find this, that you will find these figures of, car figures or carvings of, lotus, or the building, the architecture of the building will be as such. It will be like a mix of rectangle come square shaped buildings it will be. I mean the pillar, not the pillar, what do you call the, you know, the pillar or the roof part of it will be, like half square and half rectangle kind of shaped it will be. What I'll do is I will share, the pictures or a pictorial this thing in the next session as it is. So each dynasties will have its own representations in that particular, you know, place. Or if you take Trichy, for example, how many of you have visited Trichy? Anyone here who has joined me live has visited Trichy? Yes? No?
No, I haven't.
No. Okay.
Not sure about it.
Um, they say, I don't know if you have seen in online or in social medias, that before they used to say this, that at least when you visit Sri Rangam temple, there is 7 entrances to enter the temple, where you have to cross 7 gates to enter the temple. Okay. Before they used to say from one particular uh, you know point in the in the entrance building, you could see Colombo. There are a lot of interesting stories behind all these things, where with from each window or from different places, when you see a place, you get a different viewpoints altogether. Similarly, if you take up any other art or anything else, say for example, uh, if majorly if people are in training industry, if you take up leadership, you can take up a lot of instances from these kinds of stories also. It will give you a new perspective to things. So this was just a experiment, or this was just a new method which I tried using these kinds of travel experiences as stories in my sessions. uh, in my sessions, sorry if I've spoiled this, because actually I was running out of topics as to what can I take. That's when I came up with this idea. If you have any feedback, please let me know. you know um, I will do a with a PPT or with a visual format in the next session as it comes.
Yeah, I think that would be very interesting because the topic was very interesting. So we look forward to, see the pictures
Yes.
as well as
Yeah.
you hear more of the stories. Like, uh,
Maybe
y-
part 2 of this can come in the coming session.
yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything anyone else want to share, or you can share your own knowledge as well. Umaji, Minaji.
Um,
No, I think nothing much
I think
that.
they're busy, I think.
Yeah. But thank you, Darshini, for picking it up.
Thank you.
And we
This
look,
was a new experiment. I'm not sure. I'm not pretty sure how it has gone.
yeah.
And yeah.
No, so you have built up the excitement. So I think the next session you should give a complete picture of it. Right.
Oh,
Yeah. So we look forward to it. Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you,
everyone.
everyone.
And see you again tomorrow.
Yeah.
Thank
Thank